So listen, let's talk about lumberjack matches.
Oh boy.
What I
Now
like about lumberjack matches are the fan lumberjack matches. We've talked about the one at No Surrender 2006 back in the past, but fans around the ring and the way they used to do this in the South is they'd let them use their belts, like the belts they're wearing to hold their pants up right then. And as I understand it, the rules used to be you had to have the buckle in your hand, don't swing the buckle. And they even used to call this silly cute things in these parts, like a country whipping match. But you would say, hey, that wasn't that bad. Fan lumberjack matches. Any good or bad memories of that?
I was going to ask you, keep that picture up there. If I remember correctly, that's Brian Fritz. You know who that is?
That name rings a bell.
Yeah, he's. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Um, he worked in Central Florida Sporting. Anyway, that's him. No, so okay. All kidding aside, I believe it's certainly a top three. I love Ultimate X's. I think that was, I don't want to say a game changer, but I think it was very, very identifiable. X Division made us different in so many ways. It really crystallized. Oh, yeah, that's the alternative. We're not number two, number three, whatever it is. The alternative to the mainstream of WWE was TNA. And how were they different? Oh man, they got this X Division. And then when you drill down on that and watch it a while, you say, oh, the Ultimate X match. It's all that. But the fans lumberjack match is done correctly. I don't have to tell you. How do you create ratings? How do you create revenue? How do you create sales in the wrestling business? It's emotional attachment.
Yes.
That when you tell the story of a protagonist and antagonist, heel and a babyface, and have that, me and Samoa Joe at this particular time did, and that I'm the heel and I roll out and the fans were booing and everything, and I pulled a fan over and whipped his ass and all this. It's really Joe is fighting for the fans. The babyface is fighting for the fans. And he's going to kick Jeff's ass, and I cheat, and I do this on one week and next week. When you finally build it and the stipulation goes down and the gimmick goes down, and all of a sudden the fans are going to surround the ring with leather straps, and Jeff, you can't run and you can't hide. And as long as you stay in that ring and take an ass whooping from Samoa Joe, all well. But you can't run this time, because you do, you got 25 fans outside the ring to whip your ass. It's easy to get emotionally engaged in that. The fans lumberjack, the fans revenge lumberjack match, to me, checks a lot of boxes, creates a lot of emotion. It hurts like hell for a little bit, but I mean, it's, a fan hitting a talent with a leather strap is real. And I know there's the naysayers. I can't believe y'all are doing that. Well, it is. It's part of it. So I was always, or not always, I am a big part of that stipulation. Scott Fishman, recently retired, Spike executive, Viacom executive, been with them 40 years. He moved on to TNA, to Bellator. So he was the Spike executive in charge. Fun little Easter egg. In this match, Scott Fishman came out of the truck and was actually a part of, he played the role of a fan, and he whipped my ass that night. So they're very entertaining matches.
Let's talk about something that was very entertaining as fans, but I'm sure it was something that you at least had to discuss. A no rope barbed wire match. They called it Barbed Wire Madness. It happened between Sabu and Abyss at Turning Point 2005. It's the first time we would see in TNA a no rope barbed wire matches. Now, barbed wire matches, I'm sure have been around a long time. The first one I remember hearing about was Dusty Rhodes and Tully Blanchard, where they would wrap barbed wire around the ropes. But the no rope barbed wire, I started to see in like FMW and Big Japan. And then, of course, when they did one at the ECW arena with Terry Funk and Sabu in 97, they called it Born to be Wired. I know that really helped keep ECW afloat for a bit with their VHS sales. It was a spectacle, but very dangerous. Very dangerous. And this is something that, as much as you like to say, "Oh, I'm the king of hardcore," I just can't imagine Jeff Jarrett saying, "Yeah, let's take the ropes down. I'll just run into the barbed wire." But Sabu and Abyss, these crazy rascals, they were all about it. Did this take any convincing? I mean, this is a real risk. If this is not rubber tip barbed wire like we saw in the WWF for Cactus occasionally, this is this could be really, really bad.
Swerve Hangman did some stuff
Yes.
feels like last month, but at the Kia Forum. But it does take a special, unique talent to sign up for this. This isn't something that you just go to the Motor City Machine Guns and say, "Oh, by the way, we have you in a no rope barbed wire match this Sunday." No, the talent have to be engaged, want to do it, because if not only is the match not going to be good, but it's just like the air is let out of not just the match, the entire show. But ask Sabu and Abyss to do it. Again, special, unique breed talent that want to do it. And my God, what you just said, the risk factor is exponentially higher.
Yes. And because it is also logistically not easy to do.
No.
Like the first TNA pay-per-view was almost a disaster because Cheeks broke the ring right before we went on the air. So they're trying to put together the ring to start the show. So if we know we're going to have a no rope barbed wire match, part of me says, well, that should be the main event because there ain't no topping that. But logistically, that means you got to take the ring apart and put it back together with this barbed wire during the pay-per-view. And that's hard to really buy time for, unless of course you're doing a pandemic show on a closed set and you've got some episodic, cinematic type movies or movie matches you can do. But in front of a live crowd, it sort of requires, if you're on pay-per-view like you were here, that you start the show with this. So that is what happened on this pay-per-view. And I assume it's because it's just easier to do that logistically. But man, it's hard to really get into, oh, these guys are really kicking each other's ass when they're doing headlock takeovers after we just saw guys just rip each other to shreds, right?
And you could probably tell me what the main event is. It's a high risk if you put them on last, but because you just don't know how it's going to go.
It's unpredictable. Yes.
One bad move and the match is like over immediately. And we'll probably do this on another crazy episode, but how things have evolved. Our 2017 Slammiversary, I point over here like you can see it, but no, I got memorabilia over there. But the Abyss, Jeremy Borash, Josh Matthews, Scott Steiner, it was a crazy gimmick match, somewhat cinematic in parts, but as the gimmick matches / stipulation matches have kind of morphed into, because we were just, I don't know what made me think of the graveyard match, how things have morphed into the cinematic. But this is raw, uncut. It's brutal. It's just brutal. And we chose to start with that and had our production crew ready. And you've got to kind of put the ring up. You got to get the ropes right, so to speak. Then you got to take them off, but have them on standby, because as soon as this match is over, just like you said, you've got to have the rest of the show. And that's not always easy. So there's a lot of cleanup. There's a lot of production planning and execution when you start with this. But my God, like I said, to have a no rope barbed wire match and have a good one, those guys, hats off to them, man. Anybody who signs up for one.